Hey everybody, welcome to the Unsung Podcast. Today I have a very special guest that I crossed paths with on just scrolling through TikTok, and it just popped up in my recommended late night music scrolling, and I heard her voice, and she was just starting out, and it hit me. Her music hit me, and I sent her a message, and here we are. This is Alexa, known as Wolf Country Music on TikTok. Make sure you go give her a follow. I'll have the link in the description. But welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me.
The
It's kind of like a wild, fast little way that we met each other. So
Well, it was you popped up. I sent you a message and then started talking to you and found out you're not just a singer-songwriter with an amazing voice. My daughter says you sound like a Disney princess, so I don't know if that's a road you might want to go down for music-wise, but
thank you. That's
but I found out you do something very special in your world with music and kids, and if you want to talk about that, I'd love to have my listeners hear that.
sure. So my day job is music therapy, and I have been a music therapist working in pediatric hospice and palliative care for about 10 years now. So I guess, growing up, I music was always my safe space. My favorite thing was to go home at the end of the day and just play piano and sing, and I had a karaoke machine. It was just where I would kind of ground. And I majored in music in school. And then when I was thinking about what to do with music, like performance world really stressed me out. It was really, there's like an aesthetic that's important. There's all of this networking that's important, and for me, it fractured my relationship with music. Like all of that stuff really got in the way with my actual relationship with music. And I found out about music therapy, and it just meshed perfectly with sort of my goal of music being something that we share with each other as we journey through life. And that's really what my job is about telling stories, and bringing out the best, and the creativity in kids. So even if there may be decline or illness, we kind of look at each other and say, what can we make, out of this? Like, is there a song that you need to write? Is there a silly experience that you need to have? Just something to sort of like create meaning. And for me, that's the whole point. That's what has drawn me to music in my life. And so I always say I'm like still a music therapist 10 years later, just because it won't let me go just as much as I wouldn't leave it. So, yeah.
Music is so powerful. I remember when I was only 17 when my incident happened in 1994. And I remember being in a hospital bed, and I have my brother saying, "What do you want from home?" And like, I need my Walkman. Uh, for any of my younger listeners, it's a cassette player. But I wanted like my Motley Crue, I wanted my Run DMC and my comfort music, and I just put it in, just escape. But it's so funny, like music's been so therapeutic for me. But I had a conversation with a guy yesterday that had been in and out of prison, that music worked in a reverse way for him. Like music to him brought back things he would just wanted to escape. So it's so therapeutic, and I've never thought about it the other way before until yesterday. Because I mean, music triggers memories in a part of the brain that you don't even use sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
my grandmother had Alzheimer's for 13 years, and she couldn't talk for the last 2 years of her life. So we go in, and me and my sister and my brother, we go in and sing to her, and she'd sing along every word with us for 2 minutes, and then just go back to mumbling. So there's a part of our brains that's just totally dedicated to music, and it just blows my mind to learn about it.
It's
Um,
pretty special and sacred in many ways, I find.
I wrote a song about it called 3 Minutes with Grandma, and I put it on. Only sang it once. Took me about 10 times to get through recording it because I kept breaking down, but it's there, and some people have reached out to me and said, you know what, that's an amazing song, and it really hit me. And some people wouldn't go see her because they didn't want to taint the memory. But in my mind, for those 3 minutes, I had my grandma back, and then it was, it brought me comfort.
Yeah.
But with the singing that you do with the families and the writing songs, I was curious, do you give a recording of that to the family for after, or is it just a special memory that's happened during?
I'd say both. Yeah, if families are interested in making music together, something that I often do is called a heartbeat recording. So I'll record the heartbeat of the child and then overlay music to the beat of their heart, and then give this to parents.
Oh,
And that's a really special gift that we're able to give. I know it's really just meaningful, and one of my favorite things to do with people is songwriting. I love to just listen, and I'll just be writing things down, as they're talking about their child, or maybe because I see, sort of minors of all ages and adults. So maybe they're even talking about themselves and their life, and I'm just kind of writing things down, like, what song is this that you're telling me? Like maybe it's a little piece or a little memory, or maybe it's your whole life. Like maybe we make an album and we add all of the songs that have ever been meaningful to you on the album. So I think creating something like a product is certainly a part of it, but then it's also the process of like we've had this sort of therapeutic relationship together. So it's kind of both in a way, but it's like you don't have to have a product at the end. It's not required or anything. So
that's probably the most gut wrenching but beautiful thing I think I've ever heard. Just the thought. I mean, I have a 10-year-old girl, and thankfully she's been amazingly healthy so far. But just even when just talking to you and just thinking about that, or
yeah,
you see people on TikTok, their kids are in like, we have what's called the Ronald McDonald House up here for,
yeah,
I'm probably sure they have those in the States
we
too.
have it too. Yeah, they're
But
great.
just, I can't even imagine. And I know like one day my daughter she walks home from school. It's only like 150 meters, so I'm okay with it. I live in a small little town.
Hmm.
But one day she decided to go the long way and didn't. She usually texts me and tells me, right, hey dad, I'm walking the long way. And just those 10 minutes are probably the longest 10 minutes of my life in the last 10 years. Because all
Yeah.
the traffic's gone, all the kids are already gone by. I'm like, where the heck is she? And her phone had died. So
Oh
but,
gosh.
I can't even imagine what that's like to go through, and I hope I never have to. But it's
Yeah.
got to bring like families so much comfort, even like, I don't know, comfort and the heart at the same time. Like to listen to a song 2 years later, I can't even think about it. But
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to journey through, and I think that the most we can do for each other, I mean, as like a professional or as a human being, I think people like witness that kind of pain, and they're scared to touch it almost, because it's like I'm going to do the wrong thing, I'm going to say the wrong thing, or I'm having so much, I am personally having so many emotions, I don't know how I'm going to be helpful. But I think it's just like it's hand holding is what it is, because you can't take away their pain. You can just walk with them through it, and sort of we do this thing as humans. When we suffer, we create stories, about that suffering, and a lot of times through art. And so it's sort of this unique thing where we can sort of journey together, and create art together about what this means for the family. It's never coming from me. Like it's always coming from the family.
so have you
This
ever
means to them.
written a
So,
song? I know you can't. The songs you write with families, they'll just be with them for forever. But
hmm.
have you ever written or thought about writing a song just about that experience? I think that would be a really cool song. I just off the top of my.
I haven't, and I bet somebody has, because there's lots of us out there. If you start asking, you'll find a hospice music therapist, whether pediatric or adult.
Hmm.
And I imagine that song has been written. I have not. I think like I definitely have like a separation of like my life in songwriting and then like my job in songwriting. And that's personally just to kind of like protect my heart and my
Mm-hmm.
ability to stay in this job. But yeah, I don't cross the two over too often. I think when I was an intern and I had my first experience where it was an older gentleman, but he passed away during the music therapy session. So I witnessed his death, and I was playing, like a hymn for him. And I believe he was a John Doe. And so it was like this sort of Dear John song of like, I don't know why you were a John Doe, and I don't know why you were alone, but like, thanks for, it's like, I don't know why I got the privilege of being there for the last moment
Wow.
of your life, but I'm grateful for it. So I did write a song like that, I guess, when I was an intern. But I could probably not find it anymore. Like I kind of just remembered. Yeah, but it all kind of goes, I suppose, in two different like wells, but they're still inside me.
It's funny because when my daughter was born almost 11 years ago, I wrote a song just in my head. I emailed it to myself. And of course, I was going through all kinds of shit with my booze addiction and PTSD and stuff. I never ever put music to it. So it sat in my email for almost 11 years. And then I found it. So I just started playing guitar in the last few months and posting stuff online. I'm coming out of my shell, doing a podcast, doing all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about this song because something triggered it. And then I put words to it and put it on TikTok, and it had like 22,000 views. It's just a song about how terrified I was. It was like the happiest moment, but the most terrifying moment of my life because I felt like such a screw up. How the hell was I going to be a dad? This drunk idiot that's drunk 6 nights a week, and
Mm-hmm.
so much rage inside me and stuff from all this past. But
Yeah.
that little girl saved my life. And I guess I don't know. It's hitting other dads. A lot of dads have reached out to me, and it's crazy what happens when you just put yourself out there and you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
But yeah, music is powerful, and also I go to a lot of live comedy as well. I want to get some comedians on here and just do some funny episodes too. I have a lot of dark stuff on here. A lot of people that have tried to unalive themselves, addiction, recovery, just to cover everything. And I'm so addicted to it, and it's so therapeutic as well.
Yeah, it's neat. It's just fascinating to hear, people's stories. There's not a single person on this planet who doesn't have a story to tell.
Well, it's so crazy because I started this live mental health open mic every Sunday, which I'd love to have you come on and play a song sometime if you're down for it. But it's funny to watch people grow because you go on these lives and you see people so happy and smiling, playing guitar, and you think they're just living this perfect life. And it's such an illusion. People are covering up. And like this one girl, she came up and shared a little bit of her story the first week, but she didn't have her camera on. She never had her camera on. So then week two, she turned her camera on when she was talking, but then turned it off when she was singing. Then I think week four, she had her camera on the whole time. And then last week at her church in a little town in Canada, she sang in front of people for the first time. So it's cool to watch people grow. I love it so much. And there's so much fake stuff on Twitter, like, or TikTok. They're looking for gifts, or they're just trying to go viral and blah, blah, blah. But I don't care about that. It's impact and just seeing this and then randomly coming across people like you. The only time I still have my moments is late at night sometimes when I'm trying to sleep. So I used to just scroll through and look for people playing live or just people playing with the guitar or on a piano just without too many effects. And I'm not big on the giant echo stuff.
Yeah.
And then when people pop up and they just sound authentic, I'll just fire them a message, and that's here we are. Your music. Let's if you're up for it, let's play your first song, and then we can talk
Sure.
about the story of it. I'd
Sure.
love to let people hear your voice.
Yeah. Let me I'm still like low key need a lyric sheet in front of me. Isn't that ridiculous? Here it is. Um, yeah, so this is, I think, the one that you originally found. This is called Taking It Off. And we can talk about it a little more, but
Okay,
anyway, I'll
I'm
just
just gonna
play.
mute up as well, so there's no noise coming
Yeah,
from my end while you're singing.
sounds good. I was sitting on the dock for so long. The sun was setting pink and blue. When you're young, everyone tells you what to do. A kayak all alone by the shore, entertaining visions in my head. They're calling me home, but I can't go there yet. What could I have done to make them stop? The visions showing me who I was and who I'm not. We were smoking one more by the fire. You ever closer to my side, and I know this feeling. I felt it alright. Alone on the dock, you were there in the tide. I was hiding out in my head for so long. I was teasing out opinions, right and wrong, and there you were in my room with your t-shirt on, smiling at me and taking it off. You were smiling at me and taking it off. What could I have done to understand these waves inside? They would never let me stand firm in delusion. It's better to be moving against you in the dark, your head in my hands. I was hiding out in my head for so long. I was teasing out opinions, right and wrong, and there you were in my room with your t-shirt on, smiling at me and taking it off. You were smiling at me and taking it off. I was hiding out in my head for so long. I was teasing out opinions, right and wrong, and there you were in my room with your t-shirt on, smiling at me and taking it off. You were smiling at me and taking it off.
Wow. Oh, I know my camera's pretty good, but every hair is like stood up on my arm now.
Oh, I should have warmed up. I was like,
Wow. Hi, listen to that. I should have warmed up, she says. Okay. Man, I'm not. So Alexa, she's in the United States. Everyone listening, but for me, I'm from Newfoundland, and there's a lot of some Irish East Coast in that voice,
Mhm.
and it's almost a little bit of Sarah McLachlan. I'm sure you know who that is.
Oh, yeah, I love
But
her.
there's a band from Newfoundland called the Ennis Sisters, and it's just
Mm.
two girls from Newfoundland, and their voices they sound a lot like you do, but with harmonies.
Mhm.
So it's what it reminded me a lot. Like Sarah McLachlan and the Ennis sisters had a love child, and here you are.
Oh,
But
that's a compliment. Thank you. Wow.
what I can compare it to, some of the people I've had on here, and I'm very picky about who I try and get on because it's got to hit me. And my goodness, that was it's like a soul massage. That's the only words I can call it.
Oh,
Just
thank
from,
you.
but yeah, let's talk about that song.
Sure.
What's the story behind that?
Sure. Well, I wrote that song when I was 19 or 20, I think. And it's funny to now play it as I'm 30, I'm almost 36. So it's funny because it's sort of a coming of age thing. And I wrote it, and then it was the kind of thing that I was like, I'm never going to play that anywhere because it's going to give me a vulnerability hangover, which is true of all my songs. But I kind of revisited it when I was like 28. And I was like, you know what? I think baby me might have had something here. Um, and I don't think you can like talk about this song without sort of like acknowledging the intimacy part of it. Like it's about somebody who's essentially like scared to be vulnerable and scared to be like seen. And then and I grew up in Indiana where you get like abstinence only education, and it's like I remember they tell you when you're a little girl, or a high schooler or whatever it is, they tell you you're a porcelain teacup, you're china, and the more people that you are intimate with, then you're like downgraded to a diner mug, and then the more you do, you're downgraded to a styrofoam cup. There's all this fear mongering about it, um, and it's like actually it could be a very like gentle and sort of redemptive thing. And that was like my experience, is like trying to sort of get rid of all of this like negativity in my head and to be present with somebody. And that's essentially what the song is about. So I see it as kind of like coming of age slash vulnerability, like at the end of the day.
Hmm.
So,
I've never heard that cup comparison. That's pretty
oh,
intense.
I heard it all the time. Well, I know, and it's like as if God ever sees you as anything else than a porcelain teacup in your life. Like that's the idea, right?
Hmm.
So it's like I don't personally believe that anything you do downgrades you to styrofoam. I think we're all like valuable no matter what terrible choices we make. So
Well, the
yeah,
funny thing is, you'd have to look pretty hard to find a styrofoam cup these days, anyway. So,
yeah, that's true.
or even a
True.
plastic cup. I don't know what's going on, but
R.I.P. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
we won't go there.
That's
Um,
funny.
but yeah, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'd love to have you play a couple more, but whatever you
Sure.
want to sing, we'll get the names. I'll get the names of them after and put them in.
Yeah. Um, so I'll do the next one. I also put on TikTok. Um,
And I still can't believe you said I should have warmed up at the end of that. Like, come on, come on.
I was like my first high note. Like, all right. Let's find it. Sorry, you can cut out me searching for this.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm just gonna remind everyone down in the bottom here. I'm gonna have a link to Wolf
There it is.
County Country. Sorry, keep saying
Yeah.
county. Wolf Country on
Wolf
TikTok for
Country.
anyone on there, and anything else you want me to put in there, Spotify, wherever this new music's gonna be. We'll hook you up.
Yeah. Well, we're recording the album. So it's in progress. So I'm kind of hoping for like maybe fall or winter we'll have some stuff on Spotify. So Yeah, this is sort of in the same vein actually. It's just the idea that like no one is good or bad, right? Like we all deserve grace. So this is called The Best We Can. Understanding only comes in pieces. This time it was 3 a.m. I saw his name in the Indy Star and in the fine print of red. 26 years he was sober, going to church again. He made his peace with the Father, but never the government. He was working on corporate HVAC, repairing whatever was dead, but the men that he sponsored were too far gone, and there was nothing to be done about that. And his life might be in ruins, but we're doing the best we can. Only a few years younger, set up by a mutual friend. She dug herself out of a pile of ashes and lit herself on fire again. Everyone said she was tortured, only I knew the extent of it. All her history had shown she was safer alone, 'cause her walls were made of straw and sticks. And her life might be in ruins, but she's doing the best she can. And I never think about what happened. I figure what's past is past. I know he was bad with his drinking. I know somehow I was a blessing. You can't take the higher road till you can breathe. Amputate the parts of you that don't bring you peace, just to end up waiting for a ride that'll never show. So you pack up all your baggage and decide it's time to go back down to the field where it can heal, where you can grow. Understanding only comes in pieces, standing on the shore of all the tears I've cried in, waiting there for absolution, praying the same thing a million times. And my life might be in ruins, but I'm doing the best I can. And my life might be in ruins, but I'm doing the best I can.
Wow. So I used to just listen to music for the longest time, and I'd never really pay attention to the words. Because as you can see, my favorite band was Motley Crue, so most of the songs, the lyrics were just about women and drugs and everything else, right?
All the good stuff.
a few deep songs, but man, it reminds me. I went to watch this performer a few weeks ago, and he's a country singer, but he's been around for like 30 years playing, and he stopped touring, stopped doing pubs, and stopped doing churches, and now he just plays senior citizen homes. And because he's like, they got stories to tell, and they just connect with the music. But I could see you, I don't know, just playing like your voice, those words, the guitar would just be so soothing too. I don't know if that's something you ever thought of doing on the side. You're probably very busy, but
Well, that'd be the dream,
yeah, just
doing
playing
that.
playing for senior homes. Like I don't know, with seeing what happened to my grandmother with music and just visiting me and my daughter. It was her idea. Every Christmas we make, well, she makes homemade Christmas cards, and we just deliver them to the seniors in town. We live in a small town here, so we just and their faces and just seeing that reaction. I don't know. It's just something that came in my head that maybe down the road when you're finished with the
Well,
other side of stuff.
one of my favorite jobs ever was when I got to play the piano for a nursing home for their church services. Um, it was delightful because I think it was like three services on Sunday and then one on Wednesday or something like that. And it was a different denomination like every service. So I'd like switch the songbook and play. And everybody's like cussing, like in the in the congregation. Everybody's like either asleep or like cussing somebody out. And I was like, this is like the most fun I've ever had. It's just like
Well,
leading hymns, and then it was great. And it was only, I don't know, like less than a year, but that was actually one of my favorite jobs.
so before you play your last song, like a lot of people I've talked to that are coaches or therapists or do, what gave you the desire to like to help people? Like where did that come from in your life?
I guess because I am anxious all the time about how terrible the world is. I
Mm.
guess. I mean, it's like, I think about it a lot, and even I think I'm always like, what else can I do? Um, Even though I do kind of like expend a lot of emotional energy in helping, and mothering and like all of the things. But yeah, I guess it's just like I really deeply do adore human beings for all of our shortcomings. I really genuinely think like people have a story to tell, and most of the time, maybe like 90% of the time, when somebody's acting out, there's something else going on there, and I guess I just believe that there's a gentler future for us as a species, and that's, I suppose, what drives it. Because that was the thing, like, okay, performance is all, it's like, let me change my outfit and let me figure out what they want and do blah, 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 blah. And it just like, it was like, this is not, and I'm not talking smack about performers. I think it's incredible. But I think for me personally, like I just saw The Tallest Man on Earth in, I just saw his show. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but I watched him and I was like, he was born to do this. He was born to perform. He's so incredible. And for me, it was like it just disconnected me from music instead of connecting me to it. So and it was like therapy, music therapy. It was like, oh, we're doing this with each other, not for each other, and it kind of like healed that rift. So I guess it's the double thing of like I want to do good in the world, and this actually vibes with me and what I'm able to offer.
See, that's where we're so similar. Like I had no plans to start a podcast, and then I was a guest. There's a nurse in Chicago. She's an ER nurse. It just has positive story and positive people on there. And this was after, like, my story went viral. When people say, "Oh, I want to go viral," like it's the most anxiety-driven thing that ever happened to me. Because I had posted a picture of me and my daughter, and Arnold Schwarzenegger reposted it. It had like 9.1 million views, and it was the most terrifying
Wow.
thing I've ever went through. And but I was on the show with her, and she's like, "I only have like 8 to 10 listeners a week. Like, do you really want to come on here?" I'm like, "Of course I do." Because there's one person that was me 10 years ago, thinking about leaping off a balcony, that hears it and goes to get help. It's worth every second of it. And There was an episode I put online 2 weeks ago, and I don't really track numbers because I don't care about numbers. Um, it was with a veteran that tried to unalive himself by shooting himself in the face. And but this guy, he taught himself how to code. He designs apps. He does jiu-jitsu competitions, and he's 100% blind. So somebody listened to that show. It only had about 40 views on YouTube, like 40 full plays. And this guy messaged me on TikTok, and he's like, listen, I had a plan in place. I had my letter written. I was going to take my life Saturday. And this was a dad of 3, single dad of 3. And he's like, I watched that episode, and I ripped up the letter. And he actually reached out to the guy I had on. And for me right there, like that episode had 40 plays, but it changed one person's life. And it sounds so cliche and fake, but this is therapy for me too. And like just hearing that. And when I'm part of a podcast page on Facebook where it's people looking for guests, searching for guests, want to be a guest. And there's so many posts on there, and like same with TikTok, how do I make money on here? How do I get sponsorships? How do I get all this? How do I go viral? And it's, people can do that. If that makes them happy, fine. But running into people like you and some of the other musicians I had on here, man, this one guy, Brady Oxenrider, shout out to Brady. He was like you. He posted his first video online, even though he was a youth pastor and been on tour for 5 years and playing in front of people. He didn't have the courage to put up a video. And this kid, well, I call him a kid. I'm almost 50. He's 22. But he sounds like Alice in Chains and Travis Tritt had a baby. And it was just the most original shit I've ever heard. And when people come on my show, like, I stay in contact with them. I just, like, when you drop your album, that's going in the description as an update. It's just not like one guest and done. There's none of that shit here. But that being said, let's hear let's hear one more song. And then I have one ridiculous question for you that I ask all my guests at the end.
Perfect. I listened to Brady's episode. I was like floored by his voice.
See, I'm big into Alice in Chains and Chris Cornell. Chris Cornell's, in my opinion, the best singer I've ever heard in my life. But it just reminded me a lot of Chris Cornell, but I also like country. I have reggaeton on my playlist. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to music.
I think I'm going to play a song called Good Witch. And it's kind of a departure from the style of the other ones. I was debating which songs to play. Because I was debating between like the song that I wrote for my husband before we got married and Good Witch, which is about sort of suburban, the toughness of being like a suburban middle class wife and mother. So it's a very different vibe. And I wrote it. It was one of those songs that just like popped out in 5 minutes, and I was kind of like shocked when I looked at the lyrics and I showed it to my husband, and I was like, now some of this is like it's rooted from feelings in me, but I also kind of got like a story in my head, so it's a bit dramatized, but I got the idea from it because my husband is Greek Orthodox and I'm not, and I go in that church and I know sort of all the rituals to practice. And nobody ever asks me, like, did you convert? Are you doing the thing? Like, I think it's either like whatever, or they just assume, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you kind of go through the rituals, like nobody will look at you twice, right? And I had this image of like a witch being just going through the motions, and nobody like figures out that there's anything wrong with her. And also just sort of the tropes of like women, but she's bad inside, like that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is Good Witch. Ooh. you get murky, cloudy looks, and you wonder why. A chapter in a book I read said be true to everything you are becoming. Leave everyone around you stunned and running. No, but I'm a good witch. Prayed over my bed sheets. Made the cross on my chest and I kissed the hand of the priest. Because I can fake it. I've already made it. Everybody thinks I'm an angel, and I got a good man. 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 She's a mighty tragedy, plucked from the gallery. A Renaissance women with a penchant for being lonely. They'll find a way to blame her for the pageantry that tamed her, for the turn of phrase that made her go from sad to bad chemistry. No, not me. So I'm a good witch. Prayed over my bed sheets. Made the cross on my chest and I kissed the hand of the priest. Because I can fake it. I've already made it. Everybody thinks I'm an angel, and I got a good man. 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 I was overstimulated, you couldn't anticipate it. I destroyed the bed we made. I was born in debt, you paid it. Wouldn't blame you if you hated me. 'Cause I'm a good witch. Prayed over my bed sheets. Made the cross on my chest and I kissed the hand of the priest. Because I can fake it. I've already made it. Everybody thinks I'm an angel, and I got a good man. 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 I got a good man.
Wow. You're so. I really like that. That one's really good as well. But holy hell, you're so talented. It's crazy.
Thank you.
Hopefully, when I'm gonna get this episode up, and I want to get you at least try and get you enough at least followers so you can start doing lives because I think that would be a pretty badass. And but yeah, when you get that album up, we're gonna have maybe we'll do another episode and just play the whole album like
Sure.
a release party.
Yeah, the production really adds so much to it. Like I was saying to you, when we first chatted, I've reached out to like my friends who are musicians and basically just kind of was vulnerable. Like, okay, here's my songs. Do you like them? Are you interested in taking this on? And it's been like all of this collaborating, and the songs have really gone from like something, the way that they sound now to like they're really just like coming to life because I was saying it's like parenting. Like you have to let them out of your house and you have to let them have new experiences and then they'll come back just so enriched, and that's been sort of my experience so far. So so I'm gonna do the big like vocal and guitar recording bit in next month, and we'll kind of see like how things go from there. But it's been super exciting.
Well, I love it. I look forward to watching it develop and following you along. Everybody on here following your journey. Um, but I'm sure you've given a lot of gifts to all those families and a lot of memories after the worst thing imaginable has happened to them, and that's gotta warm. I don't know. It warms my heart, and I don't even know them. I can just think and I don't know. There's so many thoughts through my head. But happy Mother's Day to you. This
Thank
episode will be
you.
up before Mother's Day, so
Thank you.
I do have one kind of. Well, I don't know. I'm still kind of just thinking about those kids and their families, but I have one ridiculous question I ask at the end of every episode, just kind of like a little icebreaker for some of my reverse icebreaker for some of the heavy topics I talk about on here.
Yeah.
But here we go. So, a 100-meter pigeon carrying contest. Live pigeons. How many pigeons do you think you could carry and still have in your arms at the end of a 100-meter dash?
Ooh. Like 100 meters straight, or is it like you turn around at the 50 mark? It's
No,
just
it's
like
just 100 meters straight, like a 100-meter dash,
straight.
like the Olympics. Yeah.
At least six. At least.
Six?
Yeah, at least.
That puts you about in the middle of all my guess. My biggest answer was like 150.
No, they're
This
lying.
this 4 foot nothing lady said she would put reverse duct tape all over her outfit and walk like this.
Well, that's cheating.
Well, I don't. There's really no rules, so.
Oh, well, in that case, I will be carrying a fishing net.
Oh, well there you go.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even answered this question myself in all the episodes I have because I don't know. It came from I got to go to a hockey game with Bret the Hitman Hart, who was my childhood hero wrestler. I don't know if you know who he is, but he is probably the most popular wrestler from Canada ever. And I said, I bet I can ask you one question you've never been asked in all your 10,000 plus interviews. And that's where it started, and I just kind of stick with it.
But it's a good one. It makes you stop and think.
It does. Well, all right, everybody who's watching this or you're going to be watching this, click the link in the bottom. If you're not on TikTok, just share this video. Leave a comment. We're going to follow up again once her album is out and maybe just do a whole episode release party. I don't know. Maybe you know what would be cool to do one day? Every artist I've had on here, just all get together for a big open mic or a concert.
That'd be neat.
But I've had people from all over the States, 3 or 4 in Canada. I've got a rapper coming on with me from Nigeria,
Awesome.
which is kind of cool. And I got a lead singer of a death metal band coming on. It's a little bit of everything, and I love it so much. It's so therapeutic to me, and I felt like I just got a free concert. And
Thanks
so,
for having me. It's cool. I just started my little TikTok not too long ago because I'm doing a live show. Well, I'm not even like doing a live. I'm opening for somebody, but I was like, should I have a TikTok? So I just like started it. Like,
well,
should I have a social media?
I'm gonna make it my mission within 2 weeks to have you enough followers so you can go live.
Sweet.
That's gonna be
Thanks.
my challenge, and I can come on and be your first guest. I'm not great, but I can carry a tune. I don't know, a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's good to meet you. Good to chat. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so everyone check out the
Totally.
links, go send her a follow, and stay tuned for part 2 in about sometime in the fall. Oh crap. Hang on. What did I